Welcome to Instant Discussions, episode 26. Half a year. Now half a year. Unlike not last week. Last week wasn't half a year.
Oh wow,
So it was close to half a year. Yeah.
It's been half a year already?
I know. Time goes by so fast. Or so slow.
You look a lot older. You've gone through multiple changes in your beard. Or just one.
You grew it. You got rid of it. Now it's starting.
Yeah, it's growing back.
I shaved like the other day.
I think they should vote to see if you should grow a goatee to see how you look with one.
I get pictures. I have many a picture with goatee. Besides, the beard was like mostly goatee.
He just put on a fake one anyway.
No way, that thing was huge. It was like a comb over beard. You had it right here and you just pushed it back.
It's all down here. It doesn't really grow right here.
Good stuff.
Whatever.
I like it.
This is the beard show.
This is the beard show. So, Tony, you just got back from Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
I wanted to briefly talk about, did you hear the news from the announcement from DC?
The announcement from DC?
From DC.
Oh, the Superman and Batman?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds... I'm excited about that.
I'm excited about that.
Did you hear about that?
I don't know what story they're going to use, though. You're not excited about that at all?
No, I didn't hear about it.
You didn't hear about it.
Oh, yeah. Superman and Batman, you know the characters from DC? They're going to be in a movie together. So it's pretty exciting. Have you heard anything about story, though?
I haven't heard anything about story, but they...
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No.
Superman.
Nope. Nope. They've said it's not connected to
the Dark Knights.
Yeah. So those are a separate one, but they kept saying they're not working on Justice League. They're not working on Justice League, and then they lied. And at Comic-Con they said Justice League's going to be in 2017. Mm-hmm. But first we get the next Superman movie is going to be Batman and Superman crossover.
They did not start working on it until they got into Comic-Con.
They decided it that day.
That
hey, you know what we should do?
We should work on this.
We should totally do this. All right, throw something together. Let's put this quick video. All right, we got it. Good. Yeah, they could have been. So, they finally might be able to do something. On
I don't even care about Justice League.
I don't care about that as much, but
I want to see Batman and Superman.
Batman, Superman, that should be some good stuff. And
because I like how Superman, Batman, it's always on his intellect. That it's like Superman's just big and buff, but Batman's like, you gotta do this.
And his money.
Mm-hmm.
It's super money.
Yep. The interesting. I want to see Batman, Superman, and Lex Luthor in there and get some. I want to see some correlation between Batman and Lex Luthor as well. Both intelligent people with lots of money. Mm-hmm. So could be some interesting stuff with that. Anyway, let's get on to discussing the film we're here to discuss.
Yeah.
Let's get on.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind from 2004.
Yes.
Yes. Steffan, your pick?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I love the movie.
Yeah. So why did you pick this one?
I actually picked this one. I thought it'd be an interesting discussion, and also we've never really done a romance film on this show. And I was like, what?
Well, I mean, we've kind of done some romance movies.
Old Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of, but this is more chicky, I think. This is more of a movie that a girl could sit through.
But what about Irreversible? Well,
if a girl wants to see that on a first date, then you are going to score for sure. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to score in that way.
I mean, yeah, if you're inspired enough by the film.
No, consensual. She just may spit on your face while she's writing.
It's consensual, right?
That's actually what... Never mind.
Terrible.
That's a term I use, though.
I don't like that you use that term.
It's consensual, right?
So, this film, I had to draw a little map here for myself. A bunch of things to discuss here, because I took a lot of notes on things. I saw this film...
the first time.
For the first time.
Oh, really?
In 2004.
Oh.
When this film first came out, I was checking. I actually went through on Netflix. You can look at your full DVD history. It doesn't let you do full instant watch history because I guess there's just too much of that because it's crazy. But it does let you look at from the first time.
I know it does at least a bit of it.
It does a bit of it, but
yeah,
I couldn't get it to go back far enough. It might, but I couldn't find that now. But the DVD history, I got it all the way back to when I first started, because I wanted to find out where I first saw this movie, if I saw it in theaters or if I saw it on DVD afterwards. Because it would make a difference to how I would have reacted to the film at the time and how I remember the film exactly when. Because I remember this coming out at a time in my life when I was very emotionally fragile.
I do not like the trailer.
I didn't watch the trailer
for the film.
Not this time, so I haven't seen it since 2004.
I only watched it after I saw the movie, but I do not like it because it just tells you.
Well, a lot of this
that
it's
about memory, and it's about
everything in this.
It's clever, but it just tells you immediately, like because I think that it is nice to go into it without knowing that it's about memory loss.
I think all the promotion of this movie was about that. It wasn't really about the reveal of anything in this film. It was more about the characters and how they're interacting, how they deal with this. Not about what it's about. There's other films that you don't want to reveal those things about.
The first time I saw this, I didn't know that though.
Yeah, no, you go into it without knowing that, but
I went in not knowing either. I remember first watching it, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to have that. You don't need to have that as a secret. I think it still works.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the reveal wasn't the huge part of it.
Yeah. So when did you first see this film?
I just remember some broad was like, "Let's watch this movie. It's good." And I was like, "All right," and we watched it. I don't remember when.
Yeah. Because I looked up, the movie originally came out March 19th of 2004, and then was released in September of 2004 on DVD. So all I know is when the movie came out in theaters, I was with my first girlfriend, and she broke up with me during that summer of 2004. So if I had seen it on DVD, then I would have seen it when I was dealing with the breakup.
Yes.
But if I had seen it in theaters, I was still in the relationship.
Okay.
So, since I don't see it on my Netflix queue as ever having that DVD, that means when I first saw it, I was in the relationship, so in a better state of mind.
Okay.
And not in a sad state of mind and thinking about the loss of that. So it's interesting. I think this movie would have really... I know I've always looked back on this film, thinking about that, and then thinking about those things. But when I first rated this movie, and I'll get to the rating.
Oh, I see.
It was my state in being less responsive to it than I could have potentially been, I think. But I remember throughout the last years of high school, lots of people were referring to this film, especially with relationships and dealing with that.
Yeah.
Because it really plays heavy on different ideas in there. Especially, it's a kind of small part in there, but it's in terms of how much time they spend on it in the entire film. But the idea of when you have a long-term relationship with someone, if you had just met that person today after you've changed over time, would you still be? Would you go out with one another having just met because you both changed? In this film, they're in a relationship for 2 years.
Yeah, and then they
they split. They wipe their memories, meet again, and try to start anew. And it's that thought of is this going to work out? Can they meet blind, not knowing any of their relationship, but just being who they are?
Yeah.
Though partly, if they're erasing all of that time, they don't have the same exact character growth as they would have. Anyway, rewatching the film, I was looking at the first part of it with the first 17 minutes. It takes 17 minutes to tell the title, which stood out to me because I had, having just seen, recently watched Pacific Rim, that one was another movie where it took a long time until you get the title sequence, which kind of happens in some films. It's jarring when that happens.
It's a montage though in this one, which I think is really... I think it's appropriately placed.
It is. It's appropriately placed, but it draws you into a story. Yeah. Anytime that it does that and pulls you in, and you're into the story, and then all of a sudden title, and you're like, oh wait, this is. So that means that's the prelude to the film.
Yes.
This is, and then the story you're telling begins here at the title.
Yeah, and it needed to. It needed. Yeah. That's why it needed to be there.
And it worked. It's interesting how long that takes. 17 minutes in an hour and a half film.
Yeah.
Quite a long time.
I think that's an appropriate break, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
it's
this.
Odd. In most films, you get that in like the very beginning, or you'll see like a little scene.
No, but then it's like, so that was what happened, and this is the real start.
And it's all about in that, like, for me, when I first saw this film, and I didn't know, and Tony, you're the same, and I had no idea it was about memory loss. I think Johnny said the same thing. Right?
I don't know if I had known.
Okay, you're not sure.
Yeah.
I just remember I didn't know, and in those first, like, it was just weird shit going on. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like, she's being crazy and hitting on this guy really hard.
Especially that first 17 minutes, you're looking at that, and you don't know...
Yeah, and I was just like, what's going on here? And then there's like, he doesn't know what Huckleberry Hound is. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, okay, that's bizarre. I mean, I guess that's possible.
Yeah.
And then, like, I mean, there was all these, like, little things like that where I'm just like, what the fuck is... And then Patrick shows up at his window and is asking him...
Yeah, what do
you... Like, coming from his shoes in that position, he's just like,
yeah, it's just
what
weird.
the fuck is going on? And then it cuts, like, right after that.
Yeah.
And... then he's, crying, and he's actually wearing the same thing, too. And there was, like, a lot of, like, little things, like, really screwy shit that messed with me when I first watched this, because I had no idea it was about memory loss.
Yeah. It's interesting, because now this film has become so much a part of everything, my psyche and everything. I because it came out at such a crucial time.
Yeah. And
kept coming up in reference through discussions with friends, and just referring to this as the concept of this movie. It's difficult to try to watch this with fresh eyes, because as soon as I watch it, I know all about it, and you know what's about it. So watching it again this time, you're seeing, I don't remember tearing these pages out. Apparently this is my first entry in 2 years. So then okay, it's been 2 years. And so, like, watching it now, you find out all that stuff, and it's interesting to see those holes placed there. Yeah, and that's, like, watching it again, I thought it was really interesting to notice all those little things that he was saying in that 17 minutes. Those 17 minutes became... That was really interesting in the first watch, which was my point I was trying to make earlier, because of all these weird things. And I'm like, it still actually retrains being really, really interesting, like, looking and finding all these little details. I remember this film being weirder than it seems now. I think the different aspects of Michel Gondry's take on the direction of it, and the elements that he's done in other films as well that are not normal. Just the unique visual things that he does. Who is it? Michel Gondry? Why do I not recognize that? So Michel Gondry, he first got on the scene. It's a man. He's a French man. Oh, Michel Gondry. He first kind of the first thing that kind of got noticed for was a lot of his music videos that he did, specifically the White Stripes music video for "Fell in Love with a Girl," the Lego one. You remember the Lego White Stripes music video? Anyway, it was big hit music video.
The Legos that were moving?
Yeah, Legos moving and all that. So he did that one, and then this was his kind of first big breakout film. He had done other movies before this, but this was the one that really put him on the map. I actually drew out a map here of all the films. So the three big players in this movie, as I'm looking at, are our director, our writer, and our lead actor. Mm-hmm. Michel Gondry as our director, Charlie Kaufman, our writer, actually wrote with Michel Gondry, but giving him screenplay credit for here, and Jim Carrey, our lead actor. And I was looking through and pointing out some of my favorite movies of theirs, as I was looking through their IMDb, but also their some of their most notable one. Very interesting is all three of them, when you pull them up on IMDb, the very first one known for is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Mm-hmm. All three of them, even for Jim Carrey. That's what IMDb listed. That's what it did. It was the very first one on there, and that could change, and maybe it changes based on your profile.
I think if you asked the average person, they said, "What is he known for?" They're not going to say that.
No, I don't think so. But I think that's seemed to be on this movie. So what's interesting is
being John Malkovich.
Yeah. Oh, being John Malkovich, Charlie Kaufman's first big one, great one. So interesting. They all were from around they all are about the same age.
Adaptation.
Michel Gondry from France, Charlie Kaufman from New York, Jim Carrey from Canada. So weird, foreign, crazy guy.
You can't read mine.
So when I was looking this up, there's one movie that I hadn't seen from Michel Gondry and Charlie Kaufman that they both worked on together before this, called Human Nature.
Yeah,
Have you
heard of it.
seen that?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it. Now I'm going to have to find it just because of this. But Michel Gondry...
It's blue.
Yeah, they made it different because that's the one I haven't seen on this. But
You made it different because those are the things that are in common, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put those in common, and then Eternal Sunshine throughout all of it in their careers. And
this is chronologically?
Yes, this is chronologically. So in Charlie Kaufman and Jim Carrey's careers, it came pretty late. They'd done quite a bit before that, and Michel Gondry hadn't done many big notable films. Again, he'd done some films in France. But after this, he followed it up with The Science of Sleep, which I only saw because of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That was much more imaginative, inventive, and visually interesting kind of film.
I've seen that.
I haven't seen it, but I think it's on... I remember hearing about it, and I wanted to see it.
Yeah, I recommend it. I think it's
forgotten about
an interesting one. Be Kind, Rewind. Yeah, another kind of inventive one.
Yeah, the premise was great, and there were certain awesome scenes, but...
It wasn't perfect, but it was again, these are... A lot of this stuff seemed to be good concept.
Yeah.
Things. Even, especially from him and from Charlie Kaufman. The Charlie Kaufman stuff usually gets better treatment with them. And then Michel Gondry also directed The Green Hornet, which in the directorial style of it did some good, but he didn't write that one. It was all right. Charlie Kaufman has a really good track record with his stuff. The trio of films that kind of go together in his kind of cerebral writing, thinking of the world of the artist, Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, and Synecdoche, New York. They kind of go together in this trilogy. And Being John Malkovich and Adaptation directly related, with Adaptation being about the creation of Being John Malkovich, getting very meta-theatrical and all that. And I didn't know that Charlie Kaufman wrote one of my favorite films, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
What?
I don't know why I didn't know that. I think I just only think of that movie as from the director George Clooney. He directed that one, and then we'll get to that. And then the lead actor.
I think this is why he hasn't showed it to the camera.
No, because it gets too complicated. There's all this stuff getting in there, going through point by point.
You know what, the thing about so as far as Jim Carrey goes,
yeah,
I really liked his performance, but I know he's known for being silly.
Yeah.
And when he got kind of silly, I didn't like it.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's a tough one because he started off as a comedian, and did really well as a comedian and talking out of his butt, literally, because that's what he did.
Well, I don't think he literally talked out of his butt. He
he
literally pretended
used
to
his
talk
butt as...
Well, he might have been
he puppeted. He puppeted with his butt.
Yes,
there you go.
butt puppet.
Butt puppet. And,
Jim Carrey's a butt puppet, folks.
So... but for me,
Make him a very smelly.
while as a kid, watching things like The Mask, it's fun.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
They're fun movies.
Cable Guy was fun.
No, for me, that Cable Guy's the start of the ones that I really liked.
Cable Guy was amazing.
That one, the story in it really grabbed you, especially towards the end, and when you learn more about.
It's been way too long. I do not even remember that movie.
I recommend rewatching The Cable Guy.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah, it's one that was overlooked at the time. I think.
I think it's
underrated.
I think it's actually on Instagram.
Is it?
At least it was.
It was. It's not currently.
Oh, okay.
I looked up all the ones that are currently on there for Jim Carrey.
And Truman Show, I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
Also.
So
Truman Show's amazing.
In chronological order here. After The Cable Guy. So then in 1997.
And these are just notable by John.
Yes, these are they were kind of notable by him, like kind of his better ones. I left off ones like The Majestic or other ones.
I don't see Ace Ventura.
No, that was before Cable
Ace
Guy.
Ventura.
Those are his comedy stuff before that.
Okay.
Ace Ventura is a fine movie. It's just not anywhere near my list of stuff.
It's up there with me.
But so
me too.
I put
He doesn't agree.
I agree that it's a fine movie. It's just that would be nowhere.
But we'll be tuned
doesn't
up.
touch these ones. I don't really have Liar Liar on there as one that's a great movie, but it's one of those concept films that leads him into the stuff
that was
kind
of corny to him for me.
Because Cable Guy's still in his comedy career. It just happens to be that it had a great heart and a good story to it,
So he segued
into it. Then he segued into it with Liar Liar as kind of the segue, and then the next year he came out with The Truman Show. And that was his big dramatic role. He's still being silly in it.
But it's not the same. It's not the same type of silly.
No, it's completely different. It's
like when you jump into Eternal Sunshine in those certain scenes where he's acting like a little baby or whatever.
Yeah,
like that. Just those that got annoying to me. I was like, it seemed like somebody just like pushed him to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know if they pushed him to do it necessarily. I think that's some of his personality that just comes out when he plays the roles, and he seems to have to try to fight it. That's what it seems to me. I also didn't put on here when he played the Riddler, and he did a great job as the Riddler, but not on this list of the types of films. And then Man on the Moon, great biopic there. He's being silly, but he's not being him being silly. He's being Andy Kaufman.
That's why I was fine with. Yeah, I was fine with that.
So that was a really interesting one. Then that leads into Eternal Sunshine and Spotless Mind, and then for me it took not really as many hits after that until I Love You, Philip Morris. Have either of you seen that?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Have you seen that?
Yes, actually, I did not too long ago. Yeah.
I really like it.
And now, under that, we're going to build the Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah!
It'll be as brilliant as these ones. It should be funny.
No, it'll be funny.
So that's how I had to go to for their history of those types of films. So I think they all produce really good work, and they can all do bad work too, but mostly...
I think Jim Carrey's like dramatic...
Charlie Kaufman can do bad work. But.
For me, like, all his dramatic films are way better.
Wait, did you see his first one? It was like a Lifetime movie where he played an alcoholic.
No, I was looking
at
his old
crying
career,
and he's like, no, but it looks like Fire Marshal Bill. It's so horrible.
He's got such a lengthy career there, and it was interesting when I was reading that on IMDb because I was thinking that he would have been older than the other two in this trio just because of how much work he had done before that. But he just gotten started a lot earlier.
Yeah,
and
he was in the 23 movie? That was a horror movie.
He did the number 23.
Yeah.
He's freaked out by the number 20. He's done some bad movies, and not all of his dramatic work. That's proof that not all of his dramatic work is good.
I didn't even see that.
You know why? You can't see this one.
Oh, were there some minorities in there?
Yeah. Yeah, that happens. That's why you didn't see Mr. Popper's Penguins. These damn penguins. Either black or white. Pick one. Anyway.
Just like that damn cookie.
An Obama
cookie. All right. So.
Oh my God, those cookies are good. The black and whites.
I've made them before.
You can't make those. Not as good.
You can't possibly make.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Those cookies have to be.
They fabricate out of existence.
You can enrich uranium next. Filthy liar.
You're easy to make.
Whatever. Let's continue.
All right. So
you'll do a cooking show.
No, this part is
the other part. So now that's about the creative side of it. Now the science side of this.
Oh yes.
Because not only is this movie really makes you think about memory.
Yeah.
And it has also inspired other scientists who are researching neurology to look into things about this. And I am very sad that there was a Nova Science special on Netflix Instant Watch that now I can't find because it's not on Instant Watch anymore. But it actually discussed this movie in the scientific efforts that they're doing because they actually found the chemicals in your brain that secure memories, and they found a way of getting rid of that. The problem is they can't target specific memories.
That's what I'm saying. It's not realistic to me.
Yeah, they can get rid of, currently right now, in today's technology, you can get rid of all of your memories, still have a functioning brain, but you'd be a newborn, essentially. That's how much knowledge you have.
You could still create new memories?
You can create new memories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but
you just wipe the
slate
clean.
The problem is you'd have to learn language.
But to go in there and map something out, that seems impossible.
And I think you probably wouldn't...
Would that erase that wouldn't erase your motor skills, though?
I don't know.
It depends on this part of the brain that they're affecting.
I don't know all of the...
I have to look up that.
Yeah, you have to look that up, and that's the problem. It's not on Netflix anymore.
Yeah, because your reptilian part's down here, and then you work your way up, So I'm assuming they could wipe it clean without affecting...
I think in time and with enough mapping. That in this movie they show the mapping. There's a possibility for that. But it's all so much theoretical and being worked on. So the top part of this, 2 videos that I think give you a better idea about this and go into the thoughts.
From a channel I love.
Yeah. I love it too. You're not the only one who loves Vsauce.
I wasn't going to claim
Vsauce?
for you that
What's
you
Vsauce?
love Vsauce.
I already.
I just love Vsauce.
It is a favorited channel on the Magic Game TV's channels on the
Vsauce?
side.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Vsauce. Vsauce is a wonderful channel that does videos that I wish I would have done, but they're they're
Think of it as like a sciencey, like it's
thought videos.
It's a science, yeah, it's a sciencey thought videos.
I thought it was like if you have a yeast infection or something.
Kind
when
of.
I first saw
because these two titles make you think yeast
Not those, but
no, just this. I was like
just
Vsauce. Yeah,
Vsauce itself.
yeah.
There are two videos that you want to check out if you're interested in more of the science behind this, or
It's funny. I never actually thought of it like that. Like anyway,
Vsauce. Vsauce.
I don't know why I haven't. Like you'd seem like.
Well, I hope that if they saw this, they'd say something positive about us. I don't know if they will anymore now.
Oh, Michael.
Damn your Vsauce. Well, they're Canadian. These Canadians, so they're weird.
Yeah, hey, they might actually think it's. Well, no, that's
we've already offended. We've already offended Canadians.
Oh, by the way,
stealing loonies.
by the way,
We're not stealing loonies.
There were some Canadians at the booth, 2 of them, and I had to stop them and say, "Hey, you got to settle something."
What's the TV show?
No. What do Canadians think about Trailer Trash Boys?
Trailer Park
Or
Boys.
Trailer Park Boys? And she's like, "Oh, it's great! It's the best! It's like the best comedy movie." And I was like, "Yeah!"
That's fantastic.
That's proof. That's proof.
And she's like, "Why do you think there's like 9 seasons?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm."
Freaking Canadians. Anyway, the two videos of theirs.
That's so fantastic.
From Vsauce, if you look at their channel, the videos, Is Anything Real? And Why Do We Feel Nostalgia? Both of these,
I liked both of those a lot, yeah.
Yeah, both of them are really
I have
good.
not seen either ones.
I recommend checking them out. They're short videos. They're not long, rambling like ours.
Yeah.
Very concise. And in Is Anything Real, particularly, they talk about how memories are formed. And they discuss the concept of long-term potentiation. And I looked this up separately as well, just to confirm the things. LTP, long-term potentiation, is when the synapses in your brain fire from a response from a sensory input to giving a reaction in your brain for releasing chemicals. In various parts of your brain, when those synapses fire in the same pattern over and over again, that causes that to easily fire more easily after a long period of time from exposure, and that's the long-term potentiation. And so that is what establishes those memories, because when you recall a part of that, it then gives that same emotional feedback, that same neurochemical response. So
It's
conditioning.
That's like conditioning of your
It's
brain.
conditioning, but I mean that goes along with what like scientists say love is. It's it's the same.
It's
thing.
the same thing, and that's why you can theoretically. That's why this thing could be possible in some time. Stop trying to create your long-term potentiation.
He resisted.
He resisted because the camera's
He's a tease.
So, would you guys do it?
I don't have a need to do it for any reason.
If you're in the same situation, or maybe something horrible.
Oh, the movie.
The movie. Would you?
We were talking about long-term potentiation.
I thought they were talking about, he thought you were talking about you two hooking up or something. I wish that Nova Science Special was still on there, because there's a really interesting thought brought up, because the scientist who created it, who discovered that chemical and how to get rid of that chemical, published that in the scientific journals as you would, and said, "Hey, look, we discovered this," and then immediately was flooded with emails of people begging him to give them the procedure. And he said, "You wouldn't have any memories at all. This would essentially put you back to a child." And he said, "I don't care. The stuff that I want to forget is so severe. I need to forget."
Well,
this."
yeah. If you were like raped every night by your father, that would be something that would.
It's really sad, because they're not at that point yet where they can actually do anything with it without
erasing your whole life,
destroying it.
Yeah.
So it just became really sad for that scientist getting this flood of emails from really sad people.
There was a guy who on
you have
Craigslist.
You have to expect that, though. Like,
maybe.
I mean, what market are you pandering to?
He's not. He's not.
With
It was no
marketed
marketing.
memory loss.
He wasn't marketing it at all.
I know, but
it was a scientific discovery, and he's publishing it for other scientists to look at. This is what I discovered. They can further
I
that
still
research.
think I would have expected a bunch of sad people wanting to
Yeah, well, I was gonna say there's this
I don't know
guy,
if I had to put my email address on there. That's the thing, but if you track him down,
this guy put this thing on Craigslist who said he wanted to sell his kidney, and just like as a joke, and he said he got so many sad responses, like it was just depressing.
Oh no, you don't put stuff like that as a joke. Like I've got a live organ. No,
they're like, oh, my husband needs an organ, he's dying, and he's on the donor list, and he's not.
The donor list?
Donor.
Oh.
The donor list. You don't want to be on the donor list.
Donor list is fine. Are you all donors?
You don't want to be on the donor list. Wait, not that term.
What are you asking?
The recipient list.
So would you do it though?
Would you do it? Would you do it?
If they could map out a certain relationship like that.
Would you plot out memories?
I have basically I've always had a fascination with like memory loss and amnesia and stuff like that, and it would be one of those things where I wish that I'd be able to experience it, but then just come back
to learn from it, or
to
go back and re-experience memories.
Well, just to experience memory loss.
Oh, just to have
like
done
that.
it.
And just know what I'm just like. Okay, this is, and then experience that, but then like be given back my memories somehow.
Yeah.
Like that would be ideal. And so ideally, it would be short-term amnesia.
Yeah,
is what I would experience.
But it'd be difficult to.
Okay.
It's interesting to know.
I've just been fascinated with it. Like,
well, cartoons in like the '80s, it was like,
you bonk on the head and then you just bonk again and you'll get it back. If you, it's interesting to think about how you would feel not knowing that, because you wouldn't know that you don't know.
But I would remember. But when I got my memories back,
when you got your memories back,
I won't forget the time I spent without him.
Yeah, you might if you know that, but at that time when you don't have those memories, it's just it's an odd thing, because you wouldn't have any if you knew that you got the memories erased, then that would be too easy to.
Well, the thing is that like someone in short-term amnesia, they know they have amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the movies they do. Do they in real life?
For me, yeah. They're like, I'm 40. I don't remember anything. Oh, I must have been born 40. No, it's just, they've been.
It could be interesting. I mean, mostly it's like.
But I don't think my brain would want to know less about or be less curious about the effect of amnesia. That's not a memory that I have, is me being curious about. I mean, I do have the memory of being curious, but that curiosity is still there, even if you take away my memories.
Yeah.
So I think I'd still be able to experience.
Well, I think part of that is also if further if you watch the Vsauce.
It's like Memento, right? Where there are certain things.
Yeah. But I think
they're not like something you forget. It's not something that your body has like. I don't think like losing memories, gets rid of like your motor skills or gets rid of.
No, not that. But you've learned to be curious about it, though.
I think part of that is also why I wish I would have been able to create the video for Is Anything Real that Vsauce did, discussing that same thing, because you don't even the potential that you don't even know how you knew or when you first knew something. That thought of something like deja vu, where you see something and there's a few different theories on deja vu. Where you think, oh, I saw this before, I saw this in a dream or something, or is it just that your senses are for memory are hitting it before your other senses, and it's that split-second difference that's making you think that you saw it before. There's all those thoughts like that. So difficult to know how you know.
Yeah, it's hard to accept that, because I have had a couple dreams like that.
I've done that tons of times. Yeah. I've had that all the time, and I swear that 10 years ago I had this dream of this moment of this thing, but I'm not sure if maybe that was then being implanted in my brain, and the thought that I had the dream of that, because I'm not 100% sure, because you don't think to write that down in exact detail when you have the dream of it, because it's just a dream and there's no it's no connection to that. So you get inside the mind.
It's a crazy thing.
What's even crazier though is that like I've had deja vu, and then in the middle of it, and like at the beginning of the deja vu, I remembered what the rest of it was, and I actively changed what happened.
Yes.
What's even better, you sit there and let it happen.
The majority of the time when I try to do that, I have the deja vu of me trying to change the deja vu and
not me.
Like,
I still remember that there was the different thing, and and then the deja vu goes away.
Yeah,
you have to let it like 9/11. Like I knew it was gonna happen. I had dreams.
You didn't prevent 9/11.
I couldn't.
He didn't prevent
because
9/11.
of what's gonna happen later on.
He knew 9/11.
In your deja vu, you prevented 9/11, and then you just decided not to. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
You're saying you let all those people die.
Well, I didn't let. Well,
you let all those people die.
You'll see in a few years why that all happened.
Oh.
So later we'll